Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale AVP figure unboxing and review. Today, after all these years, I finally have this grail. We're taking a look not at the original version, but at the red Akaoni special edition version of Samurai Predator. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Predator content goes live. I'm pretty sure we've all got that one figure just in the back of our minds that we're thinking, oh, one day I'll get to it. It's not front of mind, it's not a must-have, but you still really want it. That stealth grail, that's what you want to call it. For me, it was Samurai Predator, the original version. But then, when they announced this red one, this was my chance to get myself the figure that I have been wanting for the longest time, and now it is here. As for the box art, beautiful. Doesn't just look good, it feels great. Thick, sturdy cardboard, solid construction, textured finish all over the entire thing. We've got some kanji on either side, in the middle for this medallion of sorts. That's done in a metallic finish, and you can rotate it to unlock the front of the box. That's how you open it. There's a magnet behind it, so when you bring it back down level, it slots in place and it sits at the appropriate position. In the background, biomask as well as the Predator's mandibles and the red color scheme on the box, it just pops. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. On the side of the box, same symbol from the front, but up top, then his name at the bottom, and this is the self-destruct sequence, I think, printed down the side there. And then around the back, this smoky look with what could be blood splattered there too, and straight down the middle, warnings and legal information. I'm not sure if I'll be able to open this thing the way it was intended on camera. We might need to do a snap transition, but underneath these outer flaps, we've got this nice, almost rice paper feeling insert that's got the instructions printed on the inside of it. To make this a little bit easier for myself on camera, I've removed the clamshell from the inner box, and holy shit, this thing is a beast. I cannot believe I waited this long to grab myself Samurai Predator, but first in-hand impressions, he's big, he's heavy. I love the concept and the look of the armor. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Oh, Hot Toys, this base, be still my heart, it is perfect. I mean, it's a terrible base in terms of getting him to stand on it, but visually speaking, it is a masterpiece in and of itself. If they sold this separately, they would sell a ton of them. Now, with the first version of Samurai Pred, we also got this base, but the color scheme was completely different for the deceased Xenomorph. Instead of this black with the blue highlights and the orange blood, we had a purple Xeno, and I never loved that. This looks like a hybrid between Big Chap and an alien warrior, and there's a translucency to it that gives it this very gross, creepy alien look. The translucent dome with the skull inside of it. Yes, the blood is the wrong color, it should be green, but I'm actually sort of okay with it for this Elseworlds version of the Xeno. Who's to say that there aren't Xenomorphs out there that look like this, that bleed this color? The chopped off head with the inner jaw sticking out of it, the shiny metallic teeth, the front of the skull, then this bubbling effect for the blood. You can either pop this on the base or have the Predator holding it. The ground is sculpted to look like dirt, as though the xenomorph is just bursting out of it. There's washes over the top, multiple different shades of this sandy colored paint. This, I really have no complaints with it, except for the fact that you have to put the Predator's feet on these predetermined spots because there really isn't much room to stand him on this thing. So it works as an art piece, not super practical as a display base, but you can make it work, and I absolutely will be doing that in my collection. This little silver bit up front that looks like chewed up metal is actually the top of Predator's wakizashi. It looks like it's been just disintegrated because he used that weapon to slice the xenomorph's head in half. The underside of the base, black plastic, quite heavy duty, and there's this wood grain texture on it. To secure Predator to the base, we've got a translucent flight pole and a spring-loaded waist clamp. If you get the special edition version of Pred, you get this helmet with the crest up front. It's removable, sort of. You can take it off, but then there'll be an ugly peg port up front. I would just leave it in place, personally. The designs of the helmets are different. This one's got the studs and gold around the back, but if you wanted to switch the bottom pieces, they attach magnetically. That is possible. They're 100% compatible. I'm not sure which helmet I'm going to go with yet. Let me know what look you prefer in the comments. Crest, no crest, all red helmet, or red and gold. The masks are the exact same sculpt, just one is painted gloss black and the other is red with a black wash on it. Again, I don't know what I'm going to display my Pred with. We'll try out both options a little bit later. Then, hopefully I'll be able to decide. No freaking way. In 2025, we've got a die-cast katana. This die-cast is a lost art, and I hope it comes back one day, but there's detailing on the edge of the blade. The sculpt work looks good for the hilt down below with what would be the wrappings on it. And the wakizashi, like I said, it's been melted by the xenomorph's blood. There's a translucency to the top bit where it's slowly being disintegrated. Right there is where it's at its most translucent. I'm going to pop this one on the base because it tells a story, but Predator will be holding the die-cast blade 100% of the time. Look at the ornate sculpt work on the plasma caster. Ball joint at the bottom, it attaches using that ball joint to a bracket on his armor, but it comes across organic in a way with the flow to it. There's metallic orange shading, there's this greenish gold tint, and some black shading over the top. The bundle of katanas, well, this one's not really a katana, I'm not sure what kind of sword that is. They attach to his back with a clip, and the blades are not removable. But that didn't stop them from going to town with the weathering and the speckling and the washes, the different finishes on each of the handles. The strap is real string. You could always undo it if you wanted, but I suggest just leaving it alone. Switch out mandibles. This is standard for 1/6 scale Predators. They plug in using friction pegs. Big sharp teeth up front. These are the screaming ones. Installed on him right out of the box are the closed mandibles. And lastly, a decent array of hands. Gripping ones for the swords. You can pry the fingers open quite easily, actually. I was worried these were going to be made of a stiffer plastic, but no, you can pop the swords in there easy as. 2 closed fists, already installed on him right out of the box. Another gripping hand for the right, so that makes 2 for the right, but only 1 for the left. Then 2 fingers splayed out open palm hands. The green flesh, contrasting against the yellow nails with the grunge on them, and the red armor plating with the bright spot in the middle, and the black wash just highlighting all of that skin texture so good. What we're going to do now is get Samurai Predator himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Well, I've got the swords on his back, and the katana in his sheath, and the plasma caster on his shoulder, but that's just to complete the look. This thing is insane. Just the concept of it. A Predator wearing samurai armor that's been painted red, and the look of that contrasting against the green skin, the fiery, vibrant dreads, the weapons all over the place, the mix of sculpted pieces and fabric elements. This figure is one of the most visually striking and appealing Predator releases I've ever seen from them. I am so surprised it took them this long to give us a 2.0 when the molds for this were so darn strong. And it's not like there's been a ton of mold degradation and this thing is looking dated. It still looks like, for the most part, a modern release. There's a couple of things that we need to talk about, some hang-ups, but just overall, I am so happy they gave us this. Up close and personal, oh my word, this thing is crazy. Look at all of this grossness. The nodules on the top of his head sculpt, the spikies on the side, the orange eyes peering out from this dark shaded area, the spiky teeth up front, they're glossy, there's some shading at the bottom, and the sculpt work on the base of his mouth. Plus, this is the first time I've ever seen this from them, articulated in a mouth, with sculpt work and paint applications inside the mouth that's only revealed when you open it up. You can see the hinge from the front, but from most angles, if you do not open the mouth all the way, you're probably never going to see the mechanism. But even from the side, you can't really see what's going on, and those teeth are so spiky. The dreads, another highlight. The darker brown, then the lighter orange, then the really light yellowish orange at the base. They're glossy, just like the skin, and they're sculpted in such a way that there's flow to them. They add a lot of visual interest. Not that he's lacking in visual interest. We've not even spoken about the paint yet. There's some red shading, this darker whitish green, the gross, really deep, rich green, and also some brown thrown in there. Switching out the mandibles, super easy. They're held in place with these friction pegs. You slot them in, give them a solid push, and they'll clip over this top lip. Not a huge fan of the flap of skin, whoops, as that one goes flying, that sits over that top lip, but at least it's a secure connection. And now with the roaring mandibles on, the seams are more visible. They've tried to disguise that within the sculpt work of the wrinkles more successfully on the right side versus the left. But in a dynamic pose, these mandibles, they are going to work a treat. I'm curious to see what he looks like with the closed mandibles on, the helmet, and the masks. Let's give all of that stuff a go. Badass is how I would describe this. The orange eyes peering out from underneath the top of the helmet, how it flares out to accommodate the dreads, it kicks up at the back, while still having that signature top of the Predator head look about it. He needs to be displayed wearing the helmet, if only it wasn't so incredibly difficult to install the darn thing. Having to remove this top piece, then to slot the bottom one under the crest, it was not fun. We'll talk about it again in the pros and cons segment. Also, the mask just slots in place with friction. It's easy to remove, but not super easy to install, especially with this top notch that slides under the brim for the helmet. You could display him just with the helmet on and not the mask. I'm likely to complete the look with both of them. Or even the black mask. This adds more contrast. The black glossy mask against the red helmet gives him this really demonic feel. And that, for this version of Predator, that is my vibe. Oh, now the helmet with the head crest. This looked too busy at first when I didn't have it on the body. With it installed, the crest adds a lot to the look of this guy. And we've got this greenish gold tint to the bottom, plus these front bits that curl out, the studs on top, the rust work, what looks like maybe blood on the symbols up top. This is how I'm going to display him. This helmet plus this mask. And it's so neat that you can see his teeth through the gap in this little mask, and the mandibles slot through the front sections. Being soft PVC plastic was really the only way for them to do this with the mechanism they've gone with, because it needs to be soft enough to slide over the mandibles and not cause any damage. The dreads around the back, the number of them, the flow, how they curl and curve on the ends, the finish, the texture. You can see that ribbing effect, and that is on every single one of them. There's a lot of sculpted detail and paint work underneath the dreads, but all of that stuff is going to be hidden by the dreads anyway because they just hang down his back. Removing the swords, even adding them on, quite straightforward. There's an ugly clip there, but it gets the job done. Could they have gone with magnets? I think so, but this is likely the best way of doing it because moving the head sculpt round the dreads would probably bump into the swords and push them off if they'd have gone with a magnet. Oh, and down here, translucent plastic bundle of inner alien jaws, painted teeth. They're just see-through enough that light passes through them, making them look extra gross. They're attached with real string to his belt. Then we've got the sheath for his die-cast katana. It sits at an angle. There's real metal hardware connecting it to the belt. The plasma caster plugs into this sculpted red bracket. It's really sturdy. You'd think because it flares out over his shoulder, it would droop down. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And the plasma caster is on a ball joint. You can move it around. I just wish it seated further down in the socket because you can see that unpainted black plastic ball joint. One little complaint is he's sculpted as though he's hunching forward. Like his pecs angle in, his chest is angled in as well. You can't move any of the torso bits to accommodate for that because this is all a single sculpted piece of plastic. The paint, though, is near perfect. The speckling, the shading, there's so many different layers of paint, just like what we discussed with the head sculpt. Look, I don't want to knock the original because it started it all with Samurai Predator. If we didn't have the original, we wouldn't have this. This looks way better. I mean, the red, the dark shading, the sculpted texture on the armor is highlighted because of the color. The original looked a little bland compared to this. The xenomorph on the base did most of the heavy lifting, whereas for this new one, the xenomorph is just an accoutrement. This is the main course. And it's an asymmetrical sculpt for the armor, this rounded shoulder pad. We've got a much bigger shoulder pad on the right side. The gauntlets are different. We will get to that one. More armor on this side of his body versus the other where you can see the exposed skin for the torso. Sculpted strap. That looks like a real piece of fabric, but it isn't. And the washes. The black wash has sunk into all of the texture. They've used it strategically for the high traffic areas to make those bits look more weathered. There's also some gold shading. Right there you can see it. On the high spots. That helps the armor pop when light bounces off the surface. It's not all perfect though. The elbow joints. These flaps of plastic that sit over the bicep, I don't like them at all. That is really ugly. If you bend the elbows and have this guy holding on to his katana or maybe the xenomorph head, that won't be as big of a problem, but you're still always going to see that joint, so something to be aware of. This is real fabric underneath the shoulder pad. Now we can discuss the gauntlet. There's weathering on the blades, and you can bring them down. They're articulated. You want all of them down, you want to splay them out. They're individually jointed, so you can do that. I likely will have him with the blades out because, come on, these hook blades extending from his gauntlet, how could you not display him like this? But for now, so I don't spite myself, let's stow them away. That friction joint is quite sturdy. I thought it would be looser than that given this is an old mold, but no, not the case. Sculpted plastic bits that hang down from his belt for the waist armor, then there's more of it. It looks like some pieces are missing. All of this tells a story, whether it's the bundle of swords, or the bundle of xenomorph inner jaws, or his katana around the back, the weathering on the surface. It all comes together. Fabric for the skirt, it's heavily weathered and tattered along the edges. It splits down the front. Sculpt work for his legs and paint applications do continue underneath the skirt, but that is one hell of a vibrant green for the skin. He's not been getting much sun underneath the skirt, that's why he's a lot paler. Symmetrical sculpt work for the armor for the legs, gold dry brushing, black washes, and the sandals over his predator feet. You've got the nails just curving over the edge, plus sculpt work on the underside for the soles, fully painted, of course. For a quick side-by-side comparison, Samurai Predator on the left, classic turned into Jungle Hunter on the right. Samurai Predator is bigger, and he's cooler. Nothing will beat the original Predator design, that is true, it's more iconic. But just in terms of something that looks cool and exciting and interesting on the shelf, Samurai Predator, he's got that in spades. The red armor, the green skin, and the display base. We cannot forget about the display base. Disney, give us a Samurai Predator movie series. I don't care, make it happen. Killer of Killers gave us a little taste of that, but I want the whole thing, and I want Predator to look like that figure on the left there. Going over articulation, starting off with Predator's head sculpt. Ball joint at the base of the articulated neck, double ball peg underneath the head, looking all the way forward, surprising amount of range given everything that's going on with the armor. Looking up to there, swivel, and plenty of pivot side to side. Asymmetrical design for the arms, there's a bigger shoulder pad on this side versus the other, so maybe less range there, but going up to there, forward and back. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the elbow joint, single bend getting you to almost 90. Then for the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. Single piece sculpted torso connected to the waist with a ball joint, crunching forward to there, going back to there, swivel, and some pivot side to side. Legs will go forward to there, unhindered by the fabric skirt piece, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Single bend at the knees, going to, I guess we'll call that 45. And a hinge and swivel for the ankles, plugged into the foot straight down. So it's good for forward and back rotation, but if you want ankle tilt, you'll need to rotate the joint underneath the boot guard so it's facing left and right, then you'll be able to get that range. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is if there was anything that needed updating on Samurai Predator, the elbow joints. They look ugly and they're not very functional. Plus, the paint applications on that middle bit, they're already starting to chip off on mine. The second annoying thing, the seams for the mandibles, they're pretty obvious and there's some mold degradation. They don't plug in as securely as they might have back in the day with the 1.0. The third annoying thing is installing the helmet. It's way too scary to do it. Trying to stretch this plastic bottom piece out to fit it underneath the crest, I am so worried that if I pop this on one too many times, I'm going to scratch up the paint applications on his head sculpt. The first cool thing is the display base, and I don't need to elaborate, I don't think, but I sort of want to. The sculpt work on the xenomorph, the translucent skin, the metallic blue shading, the dome, the size of this thing, its presence commanding, the ground the xenomorph is bursting out of, the severed head, the dripping blood, so many pros with this display base. The only con is there's not much room to pose Predator on it, but because it looks so good, I'm just going to make it work. The second cool thing, die-cast katana. This used to be standard back in the day, but slowly they've been shying away from giving us metal swords. I don't know why. Whatever the reason, I'm glad we've got a die-cast katana with this new version of Samurai Pred. The third cool thing, the articulated jaw. How have they not been doing this with all of their Predators? We've got switch-out pieces, we've got static ones, but it just makes sense. You can't even really see the hinges from most angles. Wrapping up on the Akaoni red version of Samurai Predator, get this. If you're a Predator fan, if you're an Alien fan, if you're a Samurai fan, if you like the idea of having all of that rolled into one, a red armor wearing version of Predator with multiple helmets, multiple mask options, so many weapons, and a ton of presents. What is not to love here? I'm scratching my head right now because I can't think of anything. Yes, there's some little hang-ups, but nothing figure-breaking. Like, overall, this is such an impressive release. It puts a lot of their other Predator figures to shame, And that is saying something because their Predator line is one of their absolute strongest. I've said this a couple of times now throughout the course of the video. Why did this take them so long to do? Yes, I know it's an artist collab, this particular version, the red color scheme and everything, but they could have reused this mold. And I wouldn't be surprised, based on how good this is, if they reuse it in the future going forward in a different color scheme. A blue armor version? Yeah, I'd be down for that. Red and blue Predators in the samurai getup on the same shelf. That would look fantastic. But I don't want to give Hot Toys any ideas. This, because there's only 2 versions of Samurai Predator, still feels quite special, quite unique, and it will stand out on the Predator shelf for that exact reason. Especially if it's standing there on its own, not next to the 1.0 version of Samurai Pred. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.